15 Graphic Design Trends for 2018. Design trends are constantly changing. Being able to keep up with and implement them is an important talent for designers to have. Great designers don't ignore trends, they study and understand them in order to better their work. As graphic designers at Weasel Media, our clients rely on our expertise to create eye-catching, elegant designs that accurately represent their brand, voice, products, and services. By connecting with the latest trends in design, we can design smarter and make more informed decisions and artistic choices. Philip Van Dusen published a video on YouTube where he outlines his 15 trends in graphic design for 2018. Philip Van Dusen is the founder of Verhal Brand Design, a strategic design and branding consultancy in the New York City metro area. From his list, the graphic design team at Weasel Media has showcased actual artwork created to stay on top of these trends and give our clients work that is contemporary and relevant to today's digital marketing and advertising. Trend 1. Disjointed text. Disjointed text is an interesting visual take on typography. The designer is creating a kind of abstract take on the letter forms by creating separation between each letter in the word or phrase. The idea is to bring the message and content into the design, but still keep the design more visual rather than something that you read. Trend 2. Brightness. Brightness is using a lot of really loud colors. Very bright and very neon colors are juxtaposed with opposing colors or colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel, such as purple and yellow. Trend 3. Glitch. This trend is showing up a lot these days. Glitch is imagery that looks like it's being transformed or broken up by some sort of digital interference. This design trend can elicit a fascination with distress, deconstruction, and the eerie beauty of imperfection. Trend 4. Color channel. Color channel is if you took some imagery and you broke out all of the CMYK or RGB colors and overlaid them with various levels of transparency. It is trending in both text and imagery. Trend 5. Sliced text. Sliced text is a little like disjointed text, but it's more like whole words are being sliced with an X-Acto knife, for example. It creates a collage-type feel and can give your typography a visual interest. Trend 6. Integration. Integration is where you take fonts or letter forms or numbers and you integrate it very closely with photography. Think of it like the text and the photograph are living in the same physical space. There is always a visually interesting way they are interwoven with each other. This is a very popular trend and can be used in vastly different visual and creative ways. Trend 7. Liquid. Liquid is an interesting take on typography and it makes use of visual highlights when you see liquid pooling. It can be used in a 3D or 2D way, combining font pairings with liquid traits from ink to paint. There are a number of ways you can address the liquid trend in your designs. Trend 8. Font as illustration. Using a font or a letter form or a number form as an illustration element in and of itself. This can be used in conjunction with photography and masking elements of the photo into the letter or number form. The letter or number form can also be used to create the subject of your composition. Trend 9. ICONIFICATION. Iconification is taking photography, illustration, or imagery and bringing it down to its most simple linear form and creating to a certain extent an icon out of it. These can be created using depth, gradients, and hand-drawn elements. Trend 10. Playbill. Playbill references old fight posters or musical posters of the 20s and 30s or even in the 70s and 80s, but it's layering texts in different shapes and different orientations. It's fascinating trend in methodology that you can use in a number of different ways. Trend 11. Text as design. This is kind of like text as illustration, but it's different in the fact that it's using fonts and using text forms as the illustration or design is. It's not using any kind of photography or illustration other than the letter form. It might use different font combinations or various scaling and overlaying or cropping to give the design visual interest. Trend 12. Systematic color. When you do a logo in a brand identity system, you generally design it in entire palette so it looks like an entire system. This can be used in many ways, but overall there's a very tight color palette being used. Trend 13. DECONSTRUCTIVISM. Deconstructivism harkens back to Russian deconstructivism in the art and design movement in the previous century. It also harkens back a little bit to how fine artists are showing work in the data movement. This is using stark monochromatic type designs interspersing black and white photography and bright colors. Broken letter forms, chopped design elements, chopped spatial elements in a very collage sort of way. It is characterized by an absence of harmony, continuity, or symmetry. The finished visual appearance is characterized by unpredictability and controlled chaos. Trend 14. Photo masking. Photo masking is similar to the previous trend. Integration, but it's different in that you are using text elements, bars of color, shapes to mask photography. You can also use shapes to mask a photograph within a photograph. Have you gone cross-eyed yet? Trend 15. Transparency. Transparency is a little like color channel in the fact that you use transparent color as a design element. The transparency trend in this case is a little more specific in that the colors cut into geometric shapes are generally overlaid over black and white photographs to create a stark contrast between color and photography. These elements can also highlight certain areas of the composition and create visual hierarchy.